I've got to tell you, I think like my biggest takeaway, and I think this is a reminder for everybody, it's actually not that hard because it's not that hard to be extraordinary because everybody's just so freaking ordinary. You know, and when you're running through all the things that you did, right? What that took, it didn't take any special like skills or, you know, you didn't even have to frankly be Latino. I mean, that was, who saw that one coming, right? What it took was a level of boldness that most people don't have, and I think most of us are just way too boring with our brands. We're way too boring with our personal brands, with our company brands. We're not ever willing to put ourselves out there and do the things that are a little bit extraordinary because we're afraid of looking foolish, we're afraid of looking stupid. And what you need to remember is you don't actually matter that much. Nobody will remember even when you do the stupid thing, you know? I mean, twice this week, I have tried to lead a room of people in sweet care. Nobody cares, right? I mean, like, it's amazing, and yet we all hold back from doing the big thing because we're afraid of looking dumb, and what you all need to realize is that that's ego. That is ego. That's why we said humility here is about being willing to look stupid for the sake of somebody else. And if you're not willing to do that little extraordinary thing and you're telling yourself, ooh, I don't know if that's on brand. Ooh, people might think we're dumb. Oh, it could hurt the brand. That is your ego talking, okay? That is not your better angels talking, right? That's actually the demon on your shoulder telling you, don't do that thing, don't do that thing. Somebody who understands more than most about internal demons is headed up next. So please welcome to the Founders Board stage, Mr. Jerome Myers. By the way, I don't say that because he's like twisted inside, just so you're clear. That was a weird introduction. All right, take it away, buddy.
This one work?
You like that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Thank you, man. Woo! So he's talking about the ego stuff all for me because I was like, I can't believe they picked me. I've never talked for 10 minutes before. It's always longer. And I've got to condense about 10 years of work into 10 minutes so that you guys can actually get a result. So for this to work, you're going to need to be able to draw a picture. If you can't draw a picture, you're going to ruin the whole thing. Okay? Deal? Please help me because I'm nervous. Agree. Deal? Thank you. All right, so we got that trademark, which I think is pretty cool. I'm really grateful to be here. And I don't just say that because that's the platitude you're supposed to say. That was almost 20 years ago. Somebody walked up, said he's dead. And I was like, I'm not dead. I got glass. I got blood. I'm not dead. But I come from a different perspective because I had a near-death experience. So what we do is we help founders with their exits. Ryan's talks about 5. We talk about 8. And it's mainly because we're starting with people leaving corporate, and we're going all the way through to people leaving a foundation that's fully endowed, because we think that's super, super important. Chief Everything Officer is the one that most people struggle with the most because they do everything and they think they're just going to come out and be what you see on Instagram. With that said, the other 8 are there. Most people talk about 6 the most because that's when you get the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that's when you experience the founder's exit paradox, which is the most intense feelings. So basically, you got all this money, you got all this time, and you don't have the thing that you tied your identity to, and you start to struggle the most. And so, when you go through these exits, each one is going to require that you become a different person. A lot of the stuff will stay, but you're going to have to become a different person. And so we created a framework to help you become that new person as you progress through each one of those exits. The people that come to us, they're asking, what was it all for? Is this really it? And what now? You ever ask those questions? Anybody ever ask those questions? No alligator arms. Okay, because I struggle with it. So my last job, I built a $20 million division for a Fortune 550. I was employee number 2. We had 175 employees by the end of September, and I started on January 13th. By the end of the year, $20 million, 30% profit margins. I get a phone call at 4:55 on December 24th. They said, hey, Jerome, we're going to lay half of them off. I said, we're not going to lay half of them off. That doesn't make sense. He's like, yeah, I made a decision. I need you to understand that I'm telling you what we're going to do. This isn't a debate. And I was like, this sucks. And so I stopped enjoying the holidays, didn't eat that week, got into the new year, decided who was going to have a job, who wasn't, and said I'll never do that again. I gave all my agency away. I said they made me do it. I didn't take responsibility. And that was a challenge for me, and I struggled with that. In fact, the next year I left, went into real estate, said I don't want employees. I'm just going to build a thing by myself because I don't want to be responsible for other people. And that was a life-changing experience for me because I betted on myself and I took back responsibility for what was happening in my life. So when we moved to that next space where I was like, well, what do I miss? Because this is lonely. I missed spending time with people and hearing them say things like, I didn't know if I could do that. It's you that helped me go to the new place. I didn't have the confidence. I feel like an imposter and actually helping them work through that because they're becoming a new person, right? That imposter syndrome that we talk about is when our accomplishments or our achievements exceed what we believe that we're capable of doing. And then we're worried that people are going to catch up. Maybe it's a fluke. Maybe it happened by accident. And so I can't talk about all 6 levels of the Red Pill model, but self-image is the big one. And then the next level up is relationships. And that's where we're going to focus today because I think all opportunities come from other people. I think it's all tied into our relationships. And you're going to need a piece of paper. So if you don't have a piece of paper and a pen or some ability to be able to draw, you're going to miss a huge opportunity. So Jim Rohn says you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who agrees with that? Have you found that to be true? Your bank account's similar to the people you spend time with. The quality of your romantic relationship's the same. You probably have similar amount of kids. I don't know. I think it's pretty true. But what we've determined in our lab, right, the people that we worked with, is that relationship quality is tied into 2 things: the capacity of the people that you have relationships with and the contribution that they make to your life. And so when you think capacity, think about connections and resources. I pride myself when I work with people to say, hey, if you got a problem, you bring it to me, I can solve it in a couple of phone calls. We can get you connected to the right resources, we can get you a solution or an answer, and if we do that, then we feel really good about it. With contribution, think about the people who actually get dirt under their nails. You ever had a problem and somebody bring you a problem and you just kind of shake your head? Anybody ever did that? You just kind of shake your head. You have no intentions of doing anything to help them solve that problem. Somebody said, not my sink, not my dishes. Not my sink, not my dishes, right? And then there's other people, if they brought you a problem, before they finished saying what the problem was, you were trying to figure out how to fix it for them. Anybody ever been in that situation? You got those people in your life where you're like, I don't ever want you to be in pain. I want to fix it. I want to help you. That's contribution. So we came up with this thing we call the 2C matrix, where we basically have 4 quadrants. We measure capacity on the vertical axis and contribution on the horizontal axis. And so I want you to draw this picture. And you don't have to put all the words on there. You just need 4 boxes. All right, so if somebody has low capacity, they don't have many connections, they don't have much resources. If somebody has a high capacity, of course, they can probably get things done pretty efficiently and quickly for you. Contribution, they don't actually lift a hand. Not my sink, not my dishes when you bring them the problem. You probably just go there to vent. Then there's the people who actively participate in the solution of the issues that you're going through. Does this make sense? Does this not make sense to somebody? We'll do it by exception. Everybody's got it. Okay, so I want you to think about the 5 people because we're the average of our 5 people, right? I want you to think about the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Some people will tell me typically, I don't have 5 people. I only talk to 2. Please don't say I've got 4 kids and a wife or a husband. Think about the people outside your home. Put all your kids together as one if you want, and put them on the chart. Quickly, I only have a couple of minutes left. So it probably should take you about 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So there should be, you can put their name, you can put a letter if you're scared they're going to see what box they're in. Anybody need more time? Did somebody do it? Because I feel like everybody's just kind of staring at me. Did anybody do it? Okay, great. So I need a volunteer. 1 volunteer. Anybody? Come on. 1. All right. How many people did you have in the lower left quadrant? Low capacity, low contribution. 0. How many did you have in low capacity, high contribution? How many people did you have in high capacity, low contribution? So all of your people are high capacity, high contribution. He cheated. Does anybody have 5? All right. How many are high, high? How many are low contribution, high capacity? How many? 1. And then, so that's 3. So you have 2 on the lower half. And so that is traditional response. We usually have 2 to 3 on the low side, so low capacity. And then we usually have 1 to 2 on the top. That's traditional for a high achiever. And so that's because the majority of high achievers get people that are attracted to them. They have these things that we call shadow characteristics. I've experienced all 5 of these, but most of you have probably experienced 1 or 2 of these. So you've lost someone close to you early in life. You've had some total financial ruin. I've been through a lot of that. Near-death experience, feelings of emptiness, and you've only been loved based on achievement. And so what this does is you usually pull back. You won't let people get close to you. You won't count on other people to help you. You don't want to ask for help. And because of that, you create all these relationships that end up draining and uninspiring. You're the most successful person you know, right? But if you're spending time in the underutilized and the mutually beneficial space, then you have the opportunity to have a huge impact on you because you've got the right relationships around you. So for the folks, this is the actionable piece. For the ones that are draining, you want to eliminate those. And that sounds harsh, but you want them out of your top 5. For the ones that are mutually beneficial, you want to double down. More time with those folks because they're contributing to your life. They're filling your cup. And then this is the kicker right here. For underutilized, this is your biggest opportunity. It's the least amount of work for the maximum benefit. I call it the low-hanging fruit. You want to send this message. Hey, first name. I really appreciate your contributions to my life. I just finished an exercise at Founders Board. During the reflection, I realized that you're someone who can really help me go to the next level. My goal is to remove our relationship from underutilized to mutually beneficial. When I get back, can we talk about how I see us helping each other at a higher level? Some people, that is going to make them squirm in their seat to send that to somebody because they don't know what the person's going to say back. But for the people who actually take action on this, you'll see a dramatic improvement in your experience. You'll see a dramatic improvement in the quality of life. And so that's my time. I appreciate you guys.
Man. That was some pretty powerful stuff, right? Let's get another round of applause for Jerome. Did anybody, when you were going through that exercise, have a hard time of thinking of any names outside of your family and the people who work for you? Yep. That's why you're kind of like, that's why you're so tired at night, by the way. There's nobody else really pouring into you. This is the place where you get to do that, right? This is the place where you can meet those upper right-hand quadrant kind of people. Whether you realized it or not, that is why you were here. And man, when he put up that list of stuff, those shadow things, it's like, did anybody not have at least one of those on their list, right? That's a lot of the things that drive us here, but it's also the things that drive us to have those bottom layer relationships. And so I love the idea of the top 5. You're always going to have people that you're pouring into, but we're going to wrap up here literally in a matter of minutes. And when we do that, think about some of the connections that you've made. Maybe you were kind of nervous to write some names on there because the person was sitting next to you or something like that. But I think he just gave you a phenomenal framework for following up with that. So